Hello and welcome to Healthy Living. I'm your host, Dr. Kathy Lamatra, and this is a show dedicated to educating and empowering you, the viewer, in matters of the body, mind, and spirit. With me today as my guest is Kelly Ann Matuskiewicz, who is an energy medicine practitioner and transition coach. She guides people from where they are to where their heart is guiding them, and the topic today is Your Body Tells the Story. Kelly, nice to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kathy.
Well, tell us how you got into this work.
So how I got into this work is I had a very big life transition where I was in a long-term relationship, and seemingly all of my life seemed to blow up at once. And I knew that there was a purpose beyond what was actually happening. And so I began to just seek more of a spiritual approach to what was happening in my life. And that's where a friend of mine came across an energy medicine practitioner. I had a session with her, and it was phenomenal in the time that we spent together, the way that I was able to get in touch with myself and actually release a lot of the energy that I didn't even know I was holding on to. And through the few sessions that her and I had together, I wanted to be able to do for others what she was supporting and guiding me through.
And how would you explain energy medicine to someone new to this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the way that I see it is that so energy medicine is the mind, body, spirit connection. And the way that I see it is that our physical body is the car to our spirit, or our body is the channel of the essence of the energy that we are. And when we begin to understand the connection between the mind, body, and spirit, and the way that our life is manifesting outside of us, and the way that our body is responding, we can become very empowered and be creators of our lives from understanding what's going on within and how it has the outer manifestation.
I love that. I love how you make the analogy with your body is the vehicle, your physical body is the vehicle for your spirit. And if you think about it, with your car, you have to put in champion fuel, good gasoline, premium oils, and then on the inside of the car, you can't have garbage in there. You have to have good, have it good and clean. And so that is an awesome analogy. I love that. How did you get into this field?
So it all began with that big life change. And what happened was I realized that I couldn't really control what was happening. It was a point in my life where I really needed to surrender, because there was something greater within me that was actually driving things forward. So I started with the energy medicine and continued to work full time while I studied all of the spiritual, like even Reiki. I became a Reiki master in there, and then went into holistic health coaching, and just really started to understand the mechanics of my own vehicle. And then as I started to heal, I really wanted to provide this information and opportunity for others to be more in tune with their own vehicle.
And that sounds like it's your background training.
Yeah.
Who have you studied with? Is there anyone of note?
Yes, I would so many people, but the few people that come off on the top of my head are Deepak Chopra.
You've actually studied with
Oh, yes.
Deepak
He was
Chopra?
one of the teachers at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition in New York City. So right now the school is online, but when I was going, it was in person. So I studied with Deepak. Debbie Ford was one of my favorites, where she taught about the shadow and the ego, and really another teacher of empowerment. And Michael Bernard Beckwith, I studied with him.
He was in the movie The Secret.
He was in the movie The Secret, yeah. He came to Omega with his wife, Ricky, and they were the two most grounded, beautiful, soulful, funny teachers. Yeah, it was really, really precious.
And how long have you been doing your work?
So I've been doing this since about 2003, so about 15 years now.
Excellent, long enough.
Yeah.
And a lot of education in the process there.
Always.
If someone was to come into you to see you for a session, how would you describe how it would go?
Yeah, so actually what I do is I don't see people in person. I actually work virtually over the phone, so that allows me to meet with people all over the world. And what I do is, and before someone does some work with me, I have them fill out a questionnaire. And what I do is, from the responses that they send back, I read their energy field. And so it's almost like this permission. So they give the answers, and then that is my permission to start reading their energy field. And so I'm able to go in and see where some of their core beliefs lie and how that is impacting. So someone can come to me they want love relationship, they want to shift their money, they want to shift their health, they want to maybe transition from relationship, or they want to transition to a new career. They really want to get in touch with what their inner magic is. And so knowing their end goal and knowing where they are, I can see where the disconnect is. And then in my work is either it's energy work or guided meditation, or and what I do is I go around where their current conscious belief is keeping them stuck, and I support them in dismantling the belief system and then the energy that's holding that in place.
So the way that I'm understanding it is you're acting like a bridge from here's where they are, here's where they want to be, but there's all kinds of static in between these two places that you're able to see and understand and help the person to eliminate the static and the obstacles to end up going from where they are to essentially their dream life.
Exactly.
The vision that they have for themselves.
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome.
It is awesome.
So what types of people do you work with?
I work with typically sensitive leaders, empath entrepreneurs.
Wait. Okay, let's start.
Yeah.
First one was sensitives. What does that mean?
Yeah, so sensitive leaders are those that are, their senses are beyond the five senses. So they are psychic, or they're intuitive, or they can feel more than what's being presented in the physical. And it's very similar to empathic entrepreneurs.
And what does that mean?
So empath means that you can tune into the energy and feelings of other people. And the important thing with an empath is that to honor the senses that you have and honor these gifts, that you can feel what's going on, but not to take it on. Because I see what happens sometimes is with some healers and empaths is that while they can feel what's going on, they've sometimes taken it on as if it's their responsibility to fix or change or adjust what's happening. And it's
so
really,
in other words, being empathetic means that if there's two friends, for example, and one friend has, for example, a devastating disease, the other friend can actually feel to the point where almost starts to develop symptoms from the person who really does have the disease.
Yes.
Just because the empath can just feel so much more than the average person and takes on the responsibility of it, almost to share the disease, to be on the same level with someone.
Yeah. And that's actually, an empath is actually way more powerful in standing in their own energy and holding that strong, powerful space for maybe even the other person to come around to their own health versus the empath trying to relate to the person with the disease. And
So in other words, by the healthy friend, let's call it the healthy friend and the non-healthy friend, when the healthy friend stands in her power and does not try to take on or commiserate or just be on the same level as the person with the disease, then the well person can actually help the sick friend.
So much better.
Yes.
Yes, so much better. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so that's two. Who else do you work with?
Spiritual leaders. So essentially those, some of what we've been talking about today is that understanding that we are more than these physical bodies, that we are we're the channels of the energy. And so, and the third is that, or the fourth is anybody who really just wants to be more empowered and understand that they are beyond their mind, that they are beyond their physical body. And essentially those that I work with actually have ripple effects out into the world. So whether they're in business or not, I mean, it could be, a sensitive mom or an empathic mom who holds a really strong energy for the entire family unit. Yeah.
And with benefits to actually, no, my other train of thought was, in the Bible it says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Mm-hmm. So it seems to me that people come to you who have a vision of what they would like their life to be, but just don't know how to get there.
Yes.
And you can see the obstacles and help to connect them to that vision.
Yes.
Okay.
So not only do I help them connect to that vision, so we'll do the energy work, we'll do the spiritual work, we'll do the emotional work, and the I don't know which one. We'll do all of it's like a holistic approach. And in that, they also learn how to become more in touch with themselves so that when our work is through, moving forward, they have all these tools because life is going to happen. Right? But now they know how to maneuver through.
So you're also empowering people to help themselves.
Absolutely. That is like the number one thing. Absolutely.
And how would someone benefit from working with you?
So a few things have happened. I have one client who, I'd say to sum it all up in one sentence, if somebody understands and knows that there is more to who they are beyond their physical body and their mind, then I can help them remember their innate gifts, their creativity, their deeper desires. And I've helped people where they've come to me where they've been ill for extended periods of time, and in our work together, without focusing directly on the illness, have been well for the longest time that they have in their whole life. So that was one. And then also with love, it's like, so I have a client will come in and say, I really want a romantic relationship. And so I see they're here, this is where they want to be. And by reading their energy field, I can see where their beliefs are that are actually blocking what it is that they want to attract into their lives. And so through the work, the holistic approach, we actually gently dismantle those beliefs, but even strengthen the truth of who they are, is that they are worthy, they are deserving, that what they want is possible.
We talked a little bit before the show about how fearful some people are of success. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How could they be fearful of success when it's what they really, 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 really want? Mm-hmm. So, do you have any interesting stories or comments about that?
Yeah, well, what I see happen is that inside there could be these generations we come from, so we have ancestry that maybe even came from the Great Depression, or so sometimes what happens is that gets passed down through the family line. And so someone could be working really hard to be successful, but they might be afraid to out-succeed their family member, or afraid that they'll be abandoned if they make more money in a way that's easier than their entire family has. So the inner blocks about, how that might affect other people. And once we, help them to understand that actually your family does want you to be successful. They work this hard so that you can. And then that starts to shift, and then, the money starts coming in. And even with a client with a love relationship, when I read her energy at one point, she was afraid that people wouldn't like her if they realized who she really was, which was a spiritual teacher. So she would go on these dates and she'd be like, yeah, we didn't really connect. And then as I read her energy, it was like, oh, but you're afraid to actually be seen. And so we did the healing work around that, and then she met someone that was really compatible. She dated for a good period of time.
That's nice. That's a good story.
It is so sweet.
What about connecting with things like, say, someone wants a home?
Yeah, anything is possible. The thing is that we have these inner limitations that it has to come from this, and you have to have a job, or you have to, all these like rules, and really, the universe is infinite possibilities available to us.
Yes, it is.
I mean, there's no. If we can let go of the how it's supposed to happen, and that's one of the biggest things that I'm working with my clients on, is they're like, it has to be this way and I have to, and it's like, yeah, but if we can, so it's like so narrow-minded, but if we can open it up and actually forget about how it's going to happen and keep tuning in to what will it feel like when that happens? Why do you want that? And then actually all these amazing possibilities come in that just feels super magical.
Yeah, and along that line, I heard something very interesting that kind of put it all together for me too recently. I just picture a tennis racket, you know, the web in the tennis racket. Imagine each strand is an emotion: joy, optimism, love, hope, laughter, friendship, and just picture all of these crisscrosses. With all of those positive emotions, you create a grid.
Yes.
And then the universe or God or, you know, your higher power fills in that grid with all the things that you truly desire as a result of all of those positive emotions.
Yeah, that's
so
beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, you're saying the exact same thing.
It's true. It is a grid. It is a grid,
Yes.
right? So I was even sharing with a client the other day about, you know, where do you? You can even imagine a piggy bank. Like, where do you want to put your energy, right? Like, where do you want to focus your energy? Because where we focus expands.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
excellent points. Let's see. If you could give one piece of advice to someone about the mind-body-soul connection, what would that be?
The one piece of advice would be radical self-love, because the relationship that you have with yourself is the basis of not only all of the relationships that you have in your life, but your experiences and how you perceive life, what you attract into your life is going to be based on a match to the energetic vibration within you. So if you're in a space of radical self-love, then that can only attract more of the same.
Right, and then the things that are opposite of radical self-love kind of go away because it's not the same vibration. I mean, Tesla, one of the top scientific geniuses of all time, what did he say? Do you remember his quote?
No.
To understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And I think people that are watching the show might be thinking, well, this is a little woo-woo for me. I don't understand this. But if they have Wi-Fi in their house, they're using energy every single day. Absolutely. The question I have is, how do they put padlocks on this? You know, wherever you go someplace and you want to use Wi-Fi, how do they do that where you have a password that's generated for you to tune into this energy?
Yeah.
So it's not so far off where this is going to be very common knowledge.
I know. I'm excited.
Yes, me too.
I'm excited.
So along that line, what would you say is a common misconception about your work?
Actually, you just said the word, which was woo-woo. Yeah, is that this is woo-woo, and really, to me, it's our natural ability. It's our natural ability to heal ourselves, to bring ourselves into alignment, to increase our energetic vibration, and to be able to attract similar vibrations. You know, I read an article not too long ago, but it was just something about this little piece about breathing and meditation, and it was like woo-woo, and I was just like, we all have to breathe. And people say, well, I can't meditate because my mind is too busy. That's exactly why you want to meditate, because the subconscious thoughts that are running through your mind in the background are actually creating your experience. And so if you can stop and allow yourself to center and see what's really going on there, and be more aware of what it is that you are choosing to think in the background, life does become more ease and flow. So none of it is really woo-woo. It's really just getting back to who we really are. That's my belief.
It's been lost along the line someplace for, you know, common people to really not know this.
Right.
It's been lost somewhere in translation along the line.
Yeah.
And personally, what hurdles have you overcome with all of this work?
So the first one that comes to mind is I had struggled with weight my entire life. So it was just like this roller coaster of weight loss and weight gain. And in my early 20s, I was, I'd be working out like crazy and doing some really extreme things to lose weight. And I would lose weight, but then I would gain even more back. And then I would lose it and gain more back. And it was when I did the emotional work, where I healed what was going on underneath the surface, that the weight did come off. And it stayed off. It's been off for quite a while now. And so it was really and then that's where, so afterwards is when I went to holistic health school, and that's when I understood is that my body was actually responding to some inner fears that I wasn't conscious of. And it was actually, it was for my insides, it was too scary to be thin. So my body would just respond no matter what my mind wanted to do. And then when I brought all of it together, I kept the weight off.
And how long has that been?
Gosh, that's probably been...
Not to guess your age.
Right? I don't not guess my age. Oh, good, but it's 20 years at least, yeah.
Fantastic.
And so like half of my life, I struggled with weight. So to not struggle with it anymore and really just love my body the way it is. I mean, radical self-love does amazing things for your body.
Yes,
and
it does.
What you think about food. Because I always say to my clients who are, wanting to make adjustments in their physical body is that it's about enjoyment, right? And so if you're eating a piece of birthday cake with a big celebration and all you're thinking about is sugar or calories or any of that, your body's going to respond based on your thoughts. So if your body's like, oh, I'm supposed to get heavy because of this, then it will. But if you think this is the most amazing celebration and I'm so happy and this cake is delicious, your body's like, woohoo!
But just for a slice, not the whole cake,
yeah,
right?
Exactly, yeah. Right.
I know, you could chocolate in front of me. It's like, oh.
Yeah,
That is an awesome, inspiring story. And you have other people that you've helped also with the same type of weight loss and keeping it off. And because I know even as a chiropractic practitioner, nutritionist, and acupuncturist that you're not supposed to be killing yourself with exercise to drop the weight, because you're also going to be perceiving, your body's going to be perceiving that you have to work hard to get your food, and essentially it's like a genetic imprint, and can work to the detriment. So it's supposed to be joyful. It's supposed to be joyful, eating well, eating healthy, and sometimes if your body does gain a few pounds, sometimes it might know more than we do.
Absolutely.
Yes, thin is, to be thin is the best way to be. Not always that thin.
Right.
You might need a few extra pounds for whatever reason.
Absolutely.
But all around how to be healthy and how to use your mind to create a healthy body. Because what I like to say is that what the mind impresses, the body expresses. So it's just an easy way to say, think positive about your body. And you talk about radical self-love and necessary.
It is.
I was reading a story about a woman that had Lou Gehrig's disease, and she was already very ill most of her life, and then she had this diagnosis, and she was in her 20s, and she said, what the heck, I might as well just love my body regardless. And guess what? She healed herself of Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yes.
And how many people come out of that?
Right.
There's not a lot of people that do. It's the radical self-love.
It is. Yeah, so if anybody takes anything away from today about weight is that, appreciating this vehicle that you have, that some of them are going to come all different shapes and sizes. We've got Fords, we've got Toyotas, we've got Chevys, right? And just love it up. But be careful. You don't want to be putting water in your gas tank or not changing your oil. Right. So we want to honor and respect this vehicle.
Correct, and clean it out and make sure that you're living in a healthy way. Not because I've seen people too. They burn the candle at both ends. What I'm finding is that there's usually if there's a family of 4, the parents usually have 2 jobs or more. So people are really working hard, and sometimes it's just a matter of kind of prioritizing what's going on in their life to say, do I really need to do 3 jobs between the 2 of us? Maybe, you know, we really don't need to kill ourselves like this, because I'm finding in practice almost 30 years now that I've never seen people sicker.
Yeah.
And I've also seen people just work harder and harder and harder and not give their body the rest that it needs. But it's exercise, rest, nutrition, positive attitude, body structure, cleansing.
Yeah.
And that's the whole ball of wax there. And I think we have time for one last success story. Is there another favorite of yours?
Let me think. Well, I did want to add to what you just said about the burning the candle at both ends, is that
you know what? I think we're going to have to wait for another show for that. So I'm gonna, you know, if anybody has any further information or wants to get in touch with you or has questions, please give the listening audience your information.
Oh, okay. So my website is www.kellyannecorey.com, and I could be reached at hello through email, hello@kellyannecorey.com. I am on YouTube, also Kellyanne Matuskiewicz, so there's lots of videos there. Yeah.
Kellyanne, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll catch you next time. Take good care and see you soon. Thanks again for joining us. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kathy.
Take good care.